Hello, and welcome to E.M.A.N. Effectively Making a Noise. Today we will be starting on Volume 3 of the World's Bible Story Library, and it's going to cover Crossing the Red Sea to Feats of Samson. Today's story is Moses and the Israelites cross the Red Sea, coming from Exodus chapter 14, verse 1 through Exodus chapter 15, verse 2. From their first encampment, which means the setting of a camp at Etham, the Lord directed Moses to lead the people to the shore of the Red Sea, where they encamped at a place called Pahathroth, between Migdal and the sea. The Lord informed Moses that Pharaoh would quickly regret that he had let the Israelites go, and that he would pursue them and try to destroy them. But the Lord assured his servant Moses that Pharaoh's evil intention would come to naught. When the king of Egypt was told that the Israelites had fled, he did change his mind toward them and said, "Why have we done this? Why have we let Israel go from serving us?" So he made ready his chariot and took his army with him, and took 600 picked chariots and all the other chariots of Egypt with captains over them all. And the Egyptians pursued the Israelites, all of Pharaoh's horses and chariots, and his horsemen and his army. And they soon overtook the great host of men, women, and children at their encampment near the Red Sea. When Pharaoh and his army drew near, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes and saw the Egyptians coming after them, and they were filled with fear and dismay. And the children of Israel cried out to God and said to Moses, "Is it because there were no graves in Egypt that you have brought us out to die in the wilderness? Why have you dealt with us thus in leading us out of Egypt? Did we not say to you in Egypt, 'Let us alone, so that we may serve the Egyptians'? For it would have been better for us to keep on serving the Egyptians than to die in the wilderness." But Moses calmed and consoled the people by saying to them, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm and wait for the salvation, which means saving of souls from sin or death, of the Lord, which he will show you today. For the Egyptians whom you have seen today, you shall never see again. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace." Then the Lord told Moses what to do, saying, "Why do you cry to me? Command the children of Israel to go forward. Lift up your rod and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it. And the children of Israel will go on dry ground through the middle of the sea. And I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they will follow them into the sea. And I will triumph over Pharaoh and his whole army, his chariots and his horsemen. And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord, when I have triumphed over Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen." That night, God protected his people from a surprise attack from the Egyptians in the following way. The pillar of cloud, which had gone before them, moved and stood behind them, coming between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. The cloud and the darkness was so dense that it was impossible for the Egyptians to pursue farther. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord pushed the sea back by a strong east wind all that night, and made a dry path through the sea where the waters were divided. The children of Israel went into the midst of the sea on the dry ground, and the waters formed a wall on their right hand and on their left. The pursuing Egyptians went in after them into the midst of the sea, all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. And in the early morning the Lord looked down upon the host of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and of cloud, and impeded their progress, which means delayed their going ahead. Their chariot wheels were clogged and bound so that they drove heavily. The Egyptians realized that something was wrong and said, "Let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord is fighting for them against the Egyptians." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea, so that the waters will come again upon the Egyptians, upon their chariots, and upon their horsemen." Moses obeyed the word of the Lord, and the sea returned to its normal strength when the morning appeared. And the Egyptians fled into the rising water, and the Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the middle of the sea. And the wall of waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen and the whole army of Pharaoh that had followed them into the sea. And all were engulfed, which means covered completely, by the flood of waters and drowned in the middle of the sea. But the children of Israel walked on dry ground in the midst of the sea, and the waters formed a wall on their right hand and on their left. Thus the Lord God saved Israel that day from the hand of the Egyptians. And the Israelites saw the dead bodies of the Egyptians washed up upon the seashore. And they saw the great work which the Lord did against the Egyptians, and had a new fear and reverence for the God of Israel. And they believed in the Lord and in his servant Moses. Then Moses and the children of Israel sang a song of praise and triumph to the Lord for having delivered them from the hands of the Egyptians. They were so thankful and joyful for their deliverance that they had to express their feelings in singing and dancing. Lifting up their voices in exuberant praise, they sang, I will sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider has he thrown into the sea. The Lord is my strength and song, and he has become my salvation. He is my God, and I will prepare him a habitation, which means a place in which to live. My father's God, and I will exalt him. And that is the end of our story, but we have an extra today that goes along with this story, and it's called Great Escapes, and it's Exodus 14. It's amazing how God got his people out of some really big jams. Like in Exodus 14, when the Israelites were trying to get away from Pharaoh's army, they were backed up to the shore of the Red Sea with nowhere to run. It looked like the end of Israel, but Moses stuck out his staff and the sea split wide open, creating a dry escape route. The Israelites saw their chance and took it. When the Egyptian army came after them, the walls of water crashed down on Pharaoh's soldiers, and that was the end of that. Here we're going to see some more of what God has mastered. It is called God was also the master of these great escapes. And it's Jonah escaped drowning by being swallowed by an enormous fish. Before all that fishy stomach acid turned Jonah into fish food, God helped Jonah escape again with the help of a whale of a belch. That is from Jonah chapter 1 verse 15 through Jonah chapter 2 verse 10. Three buddies escaped becoming toast in a blazing furnace. Their death-defying feat had something to do with the mystery guest who joined them in the oven. This comes from Daniel chapter 3 verse 19 through 27. Daniel escaped becoming lion food when an angel muzzled the ferocious felines. That comes from Daniel chapter 6 verse 16 through 22. If you have time, read those three great escapes along with Exodus 14 about the parting of the Red Sea. This was a good lesson. And that's the end of our story and extras today. I hope you all have a blessed evening. Peace out.